I was having like tour dreams of like we're late for sound check or we're late for
Same
this,
as
and sometimes
Tyler.
like our tour manager is, oh really?
That's the exact dream that I have.
Dude,
It's like,
What up, everyone? Shaq here for EDM.com, and you know who this is, on the cusp of their debut self-titled collaborative EP, plus headlining shows at Brooklyn Mirage, Shambhala, and beyond. Much like every math test I took after the third grade, they are Gigantic Nightmare. How's it going, guys?
what's up, man? How you doing?
great.
Doing well. Doing. Always got to find a way to break the ice off the top,
I
right?
love it.
That's right. I like
Yes,
it.
yes. Hey, this is. I don't say this to be pandering. I'm by no means a music critic. I had the pleasure of listening to this. Thank you guys for introducing five new summer anthems actually into my catalog that I've been playing on loop, on loop, on loop. I'm so curious.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you guys have worked together in the past. You've performed together. What was like the genesis of moving forward with this collaborative album? Like, at what point was there the eureka moment that, hey, we should actually do something beyond a one-off performance or a one-off single?
I don't know if there was like a super specific moment, but I think just the initial collab, kind of sparked the first back to back. I think I don't remember. Was it the first one? I don't even, it was kind of just like, let's try it for fun. We've done the song together. Like it would be loved. It would be all, I've always wanted to incorporate live elements. And yeah, it just felt like it would be
Yeah.
great. And then once we did the first performance, it was so smooth. It went over so well with the crowd. Like I got to play some music. I feel like I don't always get to play. They got to play some heavier stuff. Maybe they don't always get to play. And so it just
Yeah.
felt really natural and just of all the collaborative stuff that I've done, when something feels that natural, it just, I don't know, just felt natural to do it more. And, I think, between both these guys, it's incredibly fun to perform live too, but then having, Dom writing crazy sax lines over like house music and like a lot of other, bass music and all this type of stuff, just really intrigued me too. I've always, been really trying to incorporate more live instruments and also really loved Big Gigantic Sound. They were one of the first like festivals I ever went to. I saw a Big Gigantic set, saw my first Big G set, saw my first Zed set, saw my first Porter set, my first like Zed's Dead set, like everybody all at one. It was like this Camp Bisco forever ago. So yeah, I've always wanted to work with them for a super long time. And like I said, everything just came together so smooth that after the first show that I feel like, once we found the time to like really sit down and write the music, it just got done really fast.
I am curious.
Definitely.
I'm gonna skip ahead actually a little bit, Nightmare, because I kind of had it teed up there. If you were to sort of go back in time, or if I were to go back in time, whatever, and tell, young Tyler circa 2012, like, hey, you see this dope group, Big Gigantic, at Camp Bisco that you just discovered, you're going to put out a whole EP with them. Like, how do you think you would have reacted at the time?
I mean, yeah, who knows? I would have been like years like, um, yeah, I don't know if I would have believed it.
That's
I mean,
funny.
obviously, I think when I think back to those days and first moving to LA before Nightmare was started and all that kind of stuff, I definitely felt like I could do it. Like I was like, I know, like I have the ideas to write this music. And I think, if I teach myself the technical aspect of everything, I'll be able to kill it. And like, I think I've always had that in the back of my mind. And then, but yeah, I don't think I ever really, I don't know. It's definitely a trip, obviously, to think about sharing the stage with like someone that you're at a concert for.
I've told this story before in other interviews, but I asked Vini Vici one time, hey, could I just turn one knob so I can say I've performed with you guys? And they're like, yes. And I just, knowing my luck, I was afraid I was going to shut down the whole production. So maybe next time. Jeremy, for fans who are going to get their hands on the full EP soon, how would you sort of describe it to them? What's a sense of what they can kind of get out of this project?
Oh man, I feel like it's like a little bit of everything between what you hear with Big G and what you hear with Nightmare, and then some stuff that is, I think, that you wouldn't expect either. Which is kind of nice that the collab it's not just like we took this part of this and this part of that and put it together. It's like both things combined turned into like a new thing. And um, you know, between Don's writing and Tyler's writing and then them coming together and like taking bits and pieces of each other's work and having vocalists on top. It's a super dope album, and we're really excited to like play it for people and to get it out there. And like you said, we're halfway into summer now, but like there's some summer like bangers on here for sure that I think people are really gonna dig for a while, hopefully. I know I've been loving like listening, as they've been creating it, seeing how it's like morphed and getting to play it live is gonna be freaking awesome.
Jeremy, this isn't the first sort of big gigantic collab we've seen. There's Big Prismatic, there's Gigantic
Mhm,
Underground Conspiracy. What do you
mhm.
find so creatively fulfilling or desirable about doing these crossover projects with other big artists?
Yeah, it's something that Dom and I have done kind of from the beginning. And I think traces, back to our backgrounds in music and growing up playing jazz and being in a wedding band or a funk band or like all these, having all these different experiences, appreciating different kinds of music, having lots of friends as we were in different bands pre Big Gigantic. We kind of like came to the table and we're like loving what we're doing, but then we're like, oh man, let's try to like throw this in the mix. What if we do a live band version of Big G? Or what if we, team up with Tyler, who we were big fans of, and kind of get outside of like our comfort zone or outside of whatever and try to take that to a different level. It's just fun, man. It's seeing how the community's changed and grown since 2008, since like our first show is insane. If you think back to then, what was going on musically and who was kind of leading the pack, and now what we have and how big it is and all the different festivals, and like it's dope, and it's a testament to what you can do when you kind of have a community around everything, and when people are collaborating, it kind of reinforces that community even more, and that's what we're all about, man. It's just fun.
Good times. I actually I love that answer. I think it's one of the things that I noticed the most. Like I grew up as a hip hop fan, late '90s, early 2000s, and not just the community
Nice.
and the among the crowds, but to see how much the artists work together between remixing each other's songs and putting out collaborative projects. I feel like it really allows the opportunity for people to branch out. And Nightmare, you mentioned it. I'm curious, like, how cathartic are these opportunities to kind of like you mentioned earlier, sort of escape the box that sometimes you might feel pressure to conform in terms of giving your audience the kind of music that they anticipate from you. Like, how exciting is it to be able to meet these other artists and collaborate in new and inventive ways?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like personally, even when I first started the Nightmare project in general, like that first Nightmare EP, I tried to put out like a house song and a melodic song and a dubstepy kind of song and a trappy song, and try to be diverse from the get-go so that I didn't really get pigeonholed too much into being like this one sound person or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's something I consciously am always thinking of, is focusing on what I love rather than writing music for other people. I think it's like a really important thing as an artist and stuff like that. And that's why I love collaborating so much. Like 60-70% of all of my songs that have come out, I've at least like worked with other artists, and whether it's just a vocalist or generally it's another producer or something like that. Every single time it gives me an opportunity to do something outside what I generally would do, or make something that I love that maybe doesn't sound like just a Nightmare song. And then also every time I learn something like production wise too, like no
Mm.
matter what, no matter how skilled or like new or like veteran or whatever, person I'm working with, um, yeah, I always end up learning something about Ableton or getting a cool new synthesizer sample or whatever, like little bits and pieces that just help my production along the way. And I can apply to, just Nightmare stuff too. So I really love the whole collaborative process in general. And I think we just really wanted to just have fun with this and like do what we felt was cool. And and not worry too much about how it would be received, and just, organically have a great time. And that usually ends up being the best received anyway.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
right.
that comes through the production, in my opinion. Guys, as we hit the tail end of this, you've been so generous with your time. I'd love to run you through some rapid fire, get away from the day to day, and just get to know you guys a little bit better, if that's okay.
Nice.
All right,
Absolutely.
let's do it. Let's start with one that I asked Nightmare last time we did an interview. I'll pose it to Big Gigantic. I've tried to theme these around your collaboration. So, Big Gigantic, what's one reoccurring nightmare that you have?
Dang, reoccurring nightmare. During COVID, it was like tour. I was having like tour dreams of like we're late for sound check or we're late for
Same
this.
as
And sometimes
Tyler.
like our tour manager is, oh really?
That's the exact dream that I have.
Dude,
It's like,
no shit. Wow.
yeah, 100%. I'm like sitting on the golf cart or something. They're like, we can't go to stage. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's too many people in the
Yeah.
way or something. You're just like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, and then all of a
Yep.
sudden, like, your set started 10 minutes ago, and you're just like, fuck, how do I get over to there?
Yeah. They're like fever dreams about tour,
Anxiety.
either
Yeah.
missing a show, something not being set up right. Like I get there and they're
Yeah.
like, what do you mean there's no drum set? I'm like, well, what am I? And I'm so confused, and it's so real.
Yeah.
And then I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, thank God. That was like literally a gigantic nightmare. Like it's freaking
Yeah.
terrible.
I have
funny.
the same one. That's
I'm glad
hilarious.
we're out. See, we're like, that's why it
Meant to be.
works, man. We're just linked up.
We got the same anxieties.
Same anxieties. Yeah.
This
That's
rapid
funny.
fire thing works so much better when you have two people. I love it. All
Yeah.
right, Nightmare, what is one big, gigantic mistake you've made during a live set that sticks out?
Oof, I remember not even, what was it, Forbidden Kingdom, or was it Forbidden
Mhm.
Kingdom or Ultra? Like the first song of the set we play, literally, it's like this whole intro, big bang and drop. And then the back end of that song is like Dom comes out, rips a solo right away. It's like this big sax moment. And like, I just played the first song and just mixed straight into the second song before his solo even started. And I was like, oh my God, I just like ruined the whole
Like what
show.
did I do? He's
And
like
he
ready,
looked
like,
at me and he was like,
"Oh."
"No." And I was just like, oh my God. I didn't even notice for like 5 seconds. Then I looked over and I looked at him and just saw him. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Just completely
It's
skipped
funny.
the intro solo. But
I mean,
it'll
that's
never happen again because I did it once and I was like, this is
right.
But sometimes you get up
I
there
mean,
for a song and there's like pyro shooting off and the energy's crazy. And I was just like, just mixed too fast.
dude, yeah. And that's the cool thing about it is like we're performing, so it's like anything can happen. And those kind of moments are like, you learn from it or whatever, but it's like all you can do is like laugh it off and it wasn't like a train wreck, like everything stopped and we were like
Yeah.
looking
And
around.
not like the fans notice either. It's just
Nobody
sort of
probably knew.
I've had that happen too, but not quite as.
Yeah, same.
And I don't know. That's probably why I don't get nervous about shows anymore, because I've had the worst case scenario happen, and then you're just like, all the music.
I'm a big believer. You learn more from your
Okay.
failures than from your successes. So.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jeremy, for you, Nightmare has a mean tennis game. What is one thing Dominic and Jeremy get way too competitive about?
Dang, I didn't know that about your tennis game, Tyler. We need to play sometime. Probably the most for us would be like ping pong. When there's a few tours where we were legit talking about getting some kind of road case for a ping pong table so we could take it to every gig, but we were lucking out and like all these venues had ping pong tables, and that's probably the most competitive we got. Tennis and ping pong are, they're in the same lane, kind of.
Close enough. Just a couple more. Nightmare. Big Gigantic's pre-show ritual includes tequila, jumping jacks, and shadow boxing. Have you been initiated? And if not, do you have your own pre-show ritual?
I haven't
It's
really.
something-
I was gonna say I've been there. I've seen that go down once or twice, but yeah, we haven't done it. I think we gotta think of a new.
We need to,
pre-show.
yeah, we need one. We need one just to
I
bring
feel
it
like at this
together.
point, it's like ginger shots and like yoga. Like we're all on. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
we can just stretch. It's probably gonna be a circle stretch like before soccer practice back in the day.
There you go. Yeah. That's what we need.
I did not have this last one. I did not have written down, but Jeremy, you piqued my interest. Do you have any hilarious stories from your time performing in a wedding band?
I do. We so we used to play with this wedding band that this dude Cloudcord, who is a producer, plays guitar. He and his wife had a wedding band. Like, I mean, this is like 2005 or six or something. And I'm pretty sure Dom was on this gig too, but it was a bar mitzvah. It wasn't a wedding. But you know, we're playing like all the hits, the Stevie Wonder stuff, Michael Jackson stuff, like Marvin Gaye, and it was a bar mitzvah. And then at some point, it was like a Jewish bar mitzvah, but I think they were like maybe half like Turkish or half something, where they had like a belly dancer that came out, and they sat this like 13-year-old kid in a chair in front of everybody. And it wasn't just like her kind of like dancing around with like the jingles on. It was like a full-on freaking lap dance. And I was like, this kid's 13 years old, and we're just watching it. We're not playing at this point. And we're just watching it like, oh my God, what is happening here? That's kind of the wildest like wedding bar mitzvah band. I don't think it gets wilder than that, you know, little underage lap dance situation. But yeah.
So funny.
Guys, candidly, this is like my fourth interview today, and it's by far been my favorite. So thank you so much for being such willing participants. Thank you for teaching me. I'm glad you guys got to learn a little bit about each other. And on the wedding note, my fiance, as recently as yesterday, was saying we should cancel our wedding on Saturday because it ends up being the same date that you guys are performing at Shambhala, just a short drive from us. But we'll endure. We'll have to see you guys next time. I'd like to leave you two with the last word, so I'll do my part very quickly. Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you're still here, please subscribe, tap the bell, thumbs up. Make sure you check out Gigantic Nightmare, Brooklyn Mirage on July 30th. Hope you guys had fun at Shambhala, assuming this video won't be out by then. Guys, if there's anything you want to let the people know about the EP, your personal projects, the floor is yours.
I don't know.
Nice.
I think we're just excited to finally have this out. We really, really love this music and feel like it really represents, like you said, it's not just our sounds together. It's like a 1 + 1 = 3. Like, it's a new thing, I feel like. So, yeah, we're excited. We hope you guys listen. Yeah. Come to the Brooklyn show. We're very excited for that as well. Mirage is legendary spot. So it's gonna be good.
I second that notion, and we'll see you at North Coast Festival too.
Yes.
New album, Brooklyn, North Coast. Everybody come.
Go do and listen.
Do it, listen.